What's up, everybody? My name is Sen. Welcome back to the channel, and for today's video we are going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a video review on polygons, how to get started with fighting games and have a nice time. This is an older video. People have gone over it, you know, much to the effect of Sajam and Maximilian Dood, and in general I've visited this video a couple times myself over the years. I'm very familiar with it, but I want to see how it stacks up in the modern era, and then adding my own bit of 2 cents in there. And, you know, just keep it conversational, keep it light. This doesn't have to be like a hyper serious video.
For a long time, I'd look at fighting games and I'd say, that looks so cool, but I don't think it's for me. I had done some casual button mashing, but I never dove into the deeper mechanics. When I saw the gulf between what I was able to do and what others were doing, I told myself they were able to get there. Then, a few years ago, I decided to try for real.
And there's a lot of people that kind of have the same line of thinking, where there's still a very large misconception where fighting games are like the most impossible thing to get into. I try to say that a lot myself and try to like ease the tension of that idea, but you know, people are just really of that mind where like you can't convince them.
Is it worth it? Yes.
Spit.
I can tell you without exaggeration that fighting games have brought me more joy than anything else I've put my game.
They're literally my favorite genre for a reason.
Category of enjoyment unto itself, constructed from the greatest pleasures of gaming. The childlike joy of hitting buttons and seeing cool shit happen. The slow burn tension of outmaneuvering an opponent in a strategy game.
I love strategy games. I love Dark Souls even more.
Exploiting their weaknesses. It's meditative, it's rhythmic, it's sports, it's therapeutic, it's communal. It's the closest you're ever going to come to feeling like Rocky or your favorite shonen protagonist. It's made me happy.
Someone said something too, and this is going to be like, if you're not prepared for this, I'm going to be pausing intermittently, but like, someone said something so interesting, I forget who it was, but Dragon Ball FighterZ is such an interesting case of like people just being super down in a scrap for like a long time and like really see their improvement because they're shonen fans. And they look at themselves like, I'm the protagonist. Like, this is my training arc or whatever. Like, I need to get ready for the Dark Tournament. I'm like, huh, okay. Like, I never really put that together, but I felt the same way when I was playing Dragon Ball.
It's made my brain feel better. It is absolutely worth it. But it takes a lot of work, and looking at that from the outside...
Everything you want to get better at takes a lot of work.
This guide is for people who have
anything you want to get good at takes a lot of work.
Thinking about jumping in. Hopefully, you can use this video as a gentle, supportive push into the pool. Here's my 10-step guide for getting into fighting games without losing your mind. 10
steps.
Step 1. Decide you want to...
And this is the stopgap, right? A lot of people find fighting games interesting, and it's always of the mind where it's like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind getting into fighting games, or I think fighting games are cool, I just haven't sat down to give them a try. It's just that their interest level hasn't met the point where they're willing to put in the work to actually do so. And that's the case for a lot of people.
This one's kind of obvious, but it's also essential. Your desire to get into fighting games is going to be the thing that fuels you through the hard stuff.
And that's anything,
curious,
right?
But you're not sure if you're ready to take the dive, there is some other stuff you can do to gradually expose yourself. For starters, watch some matches.
Activates reversal. He wasn't looking.
It's really exciting to see the top players just going nuts. Here are some of my favorites. Goichi versus Sonic.
Classic.
Evo 2018.
I had my friend watch this match. I had Brandon watch this match.
Versus an immovable object.
And I want to say he got like kind of emotional when, if this was the match that Goichi was like crying when he won,
you know that
then I think my friend was getting emotional at this one too.
So every mix-up is just so tense.
I miss old Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Lil Majin's whole Evo 2018.
Lil Majin's run, I watched this personally, and it was I watched his whole run. It was crazy.
In a game that was historically
that smile, bro.
So it's a combination of
smile at the camera
with the home field advantage. Plus, he's playing a super fun character with big splashy moves.
Fighting King is not fun though.
But it's not just about what the players are doing. Hearing the audience and commentators get excited and pop off for the big moments will help you figure out what's important and what to pay attention to.
And he's so scared of getting hit because he's got that V trigger. No, it's gonna hit here into the critical arc.
I liked playing Sakura in 5 too.
Watch some super thoughtful, accessible video essays about the underlying.
I like Sakura a lot in 5. I hope she comes back.
Pop on Gerald Lee, aka Core A Gaming. My personal favorite is why button mashing doesn't work. Also, follow some fighting game people on Twitter and Twitch and stuff. There's a lot of people doing really interesting streams.
Majin Obama with the suit.
To make his pubes his legs.
We hear the man's trying to deck you with the refrigerator. You thought this, but he unplugged that shit off the wall. Let's get money.
There will be a lot of in-jokes and terminology you don't understand, but you'll pick it up soon enough through context clues. And if you need a helping hand, check out the infill.net fighting game glossary. They have explanations of all the jargon.
Okay, before we go into oh shit. Exposing yourself to matches is like obviously really good. You know, you get to see like cool hype and exciting moments, and that's well and good. There have been plenty of people where like, you know, everybody has that friend where it's like, God, I want my friend to get into fighting games, but they're just not about it. I've run into that so many times, and as much cool shit as I've shown people about fighting games, it doesn't take. And I'll always say too, you got to make friends with fighting game players. Unfortunately, like it's very rare that you can make your friends fighting game players. It boils down to interest at the end of the day. If they're just not that interested, no amount of matches you could show them or no amount of cool tech or like setups or combos that you can do will actually sway their interest. Picking a game is informed by step one. Typically, you'll probably watch matches on the game that you're actually interested in. There's going to be a lot less experimentation outside of that. Like, someone that's interested in Street Fighter is not going to watch Guilty Gear, right?
Frequently asked question among the fighting game curious is, what's a good fighting game for a new player? And the definitive answer is literally whichever game you're interested in. I'm so serious about this. You need to follow your heart. Look at gameplay trailers, watch some big matches. Whichever game makes
Oh my god, I forgot how ugly that game is.
Chase.
Infinite.
That spark will be what fuels you. when
Soul
things get
Calibur.
hard. I
like
love
Soul
martial arts
Calibur.
cinema and pro wrestling, so for me, the game that grabbed my attention was Tekken.
Tekken is fun. I did not play a lot of 7 though.
Stuff in 2D fighters like
I kind of wish I played more.
So it was kind of like watching a choreographed fight scene from the movies and wrestling I love. Before I understood mid-low mix-ups and frame data, I understood that King did a sick running powerbomb and I loved to see it. You gotta find your access point. You like anime? You like nasty gore? You like ponies? Get it. But while you're following your heart, you do need to pay attention to one annoying wrinkle. Because of the old COVID, you're mostly going to be
the
playing
dark
online,
timeline.
and not all games have great net play. In games that use delay-based netcode, response times can be sluggish. The good news is...
Yeah, unfortunately, we've kind of got past all that, where most games in the modern era have pretty good netcode. And on this too, Dragon Ball FighterZ was the big game that got me into fighting games. That was my jumping point. And then everything else from that just kind of spawned from all this. I started playing a bunch of other fighting games, this, that, and the third. But I had tried other games in the past, like very minorly. Like I played a little bit of Guilty Gear. I played a little Street Fighter. I didn't understand a fucking thing that was going on. But it wasn't until my game came along, Dragon Ball FighterZ, that I was like, oh wait, no, these are fucking sick. Brandon is another good example too. I bring him up a lot. He's one of my very best friends. He was very largely interested in 2XKO. That was like the main thing for him. It was attached to the League of Legends IP, which he loves League of Legends. So he's like, oh, I really want to play 2XKO when it comes out. And I tried to point him in the direction like, oh, hey, maybe before the game comes out, try these other games so you don't have as many hurdles to get over when you're getting started. None of them took. His interest was only directed at 2XKO. And yeah, he plays the game. Would playing other games have alleviated some problems early on? Sure, yeah, absolutely. But if he's not interested in those games, it's not going to happen.
If you're new, you probably won't know what you're missing out on until you taste that crisp offline stuff. If you know that you're mostly going to be playing online, consider choosing a game with rollback netcode. Rollback is an ingenious...
Every game's got rollback now, thank fucking God.
Sluggishness inherent to online fighting games. If you want a cool explainer on how it works, check out this video by Core A Gaming. Here are some games with pretty good netcode.
I do wonder how the Them's Fighting Herd community is doing. They've always been like a really tight-knit community, kind of keeps to themselves. Same with Skullgirls. I know the players that are playing those games are still just playing those games, but I wonder if they're getting new attention on them.
If you're not sure if a game has rollback, just Google it, and you'll either find a bunch of blog posts like Punch Kicker adds rollback, or a bunch of Reddit threads like, how come Punch Kicker doesn't have rollback?
Step 3, gearing up.
Another common question is, what do I need to start playing fighting games? And the good news is, if you play other types
Literally,
of games, you're good to go.
Yeah, anything.
You need a console or a PC and a controller, and that's it. Fight. Also, a good internet connection. More on that later. You might
That's a little bit more optional these days because so much of the netcode's doing the heavy lifting. It helps if you're wired for sure, but you know, I'll play players on wireless.
Stick, but there's really
But there will be the
correlation
sect of
between
players that
performance
discriminate
and
if you are wireless.
Lots of the best players in the world grew up using readily available console controllers and still absolutely kill with them. And the skills and knowledge you develop using one type of controller are totally transferable. There's just a short recalibration period where you need to develop some new muscle memory. That said, if you have the resources and the inclination, fight sticks can be a lot of fun. They're tactile and hefty, and they make good noises.
Yeah, for some of you that don't know, I actually started out on controller in Dragon Ball FighterZ. And after playing for a couple of years, I decided to give stick a try. I was having a really tough time getting used to it at first. And then very quickly after that, I bought Hitbox, and I haven't gone back since. I exclusively play Hitbox on all my fighting games, but there is a lot of people that still think that you need a fight stick or a Hitbox to get started, where like, yeah, some of the best players like in any game are playing on controller. It's just a minor misconception.
Most of the sticks you'll find are ball-top square
Arcade
based,
sticks
meaning the joystick moves around
of
in a
this
square
nature
frame. It
are
makes it
like
easy
for
to lock
the
in important
arcade
fighting
player.
positions like down back. You
But
can
if
just
you don't have
physically
that muscle
feel it.
memory, there's
Another
not really
less
a point.
common configuration is bat top K lever. These ones don't have a gate, and they use a rubber grommet to return to the neutral position. The result is that they're a bit spongier, and you gotta be more precise with your inputs. Unless you're planning to go all in on Tekken or you grew up on these, I'd steer clear for now.
Agreed.
Finally, Hitbox-style controllers replace the joystick with more arcade buttons. They take some getting used to, but they allow for extremely precise inputs.
It took
But
me a
maybe the
long time to
biggest
get used to
benefit is that
Hitbox.
they're pretty damn ergonomic. Cranking
And
on a
there's
fight stick
still
can
things
stress
that
out
I'm
your
still
shoulders
rocky
and
at,
fingers.
like
My
reaction
elderly
DP.
thumbs don't have what it takes to mash on a D-pad anymore. A Hitbox is comfy, and it lets you nail your inputs without straining. Most controllers work with PC and one type of console. If you ever plan on attending a local event, I'd suggest going for a controller that will work with the PS4. That's what they're going to be using there. Tuning your control setup is fun, and it can become a hobby of its own. But the biggest message I want to give you is do not gear gate yourself. Don't put an artificial boundary between you and the thing you want to do. You're just denying yourself the pleasure of playing and getting better.
And that's with anything, right? Where they want to start like a hobby or literally anything, and it's like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna start photography, but I gotta get like a DSLR or a DSLR. It's like, oh, I'm gonna start streaming any day now. I just gotta get some posters, my lighting, you know. I gotta it's always something. I'm like, just do it. You can start photography just by using your phone. You have like one of the best cameras in the world in your pocket.
But let's talk about a real boundary.
Step 4. Pipe check.
If you're
Yeah, this step we can kind of gloss over that. It really just covers internet connection. Like I said, rollback. It's doing a lot of the heavy lifting in this day and age. It's great to be wired, but I played fighting games wirelessly for a long time just because I couldn't. Either I was living at home or someone I was living with, like it just didn't work and I didn't have the money. It's like, oh, let me get 100-foot LAN cable or whatever. Being wired in is just going to take out some of the instability problems, but you know, there is only so much you can do over so far. Like it doesn't matter if you and your opponent are both wired if you're at like opposite ends of the earth, right? So we can kind of glance over this one.
Step 5. Choose your fighter.
So, who are some good characters for new fighting game players?
Anybody.
The answer, regardless of the game, is whoever you think looks cool. Once again, your enthusiasm is going to be the emotional well from which you draw the motivation to grind out combos and do the difficult work of learning. And you don't always have to pick the Ryu of the game to learn the fundamentals.
Yeah, very true. Especially with something like a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. People are going to pick the most generic character because they think it's going to like exemplify like the basics. It's like, I must study 1,000 years of Ryu in the Himalayas before I can play Marisa or whatever.
For example, when I started Tekken 7,
But different
I played
characters
King
have different
because
skill
I liked
sets.
that he was a huge kitty cat man who did all my favorite wrestling moves. He's a great character, but he also has a big, bloated moveset that he's picked up over decades of Tekken games. He's got some complicated inputs, and as a grappler, he approaches combat differently from most of the roster. But I liked him. I liked the way his moves looked, I liked his vibe, so I had the motivation to put in the work. Later,
I think with something specifically like Guilty Gear or like any other game that's not Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, you're going to see that a lot less of people kind of just honing in on whoever the Ryu is of the game because of the general unfamiliarity at large. So for instance, for something like 2XKO, there isn't a Ryu. There isn't like a default character like to hone in on that's like the staple character of the game. You might be able to argue that would be Yasuo, but I think a lot of newer players to fighting games would get turned away from Yasuo pretty quickly because they're like, oh, what's up with all the stance? This shit's like hard and weird. I'm going to go play something easier like Darius. And I think that's the same for a lot of other games too. Like I think it'd be the same if somebody wanted to pick up a Melty Blood or Persona maybe, or an Under Night. I think you know you're gonna see less of the locking in on the main character.
A high-tier character who exemplified the fundamentals of that series would help me learn. So I tried for a while.
I miss when Wild Throw did like a bajillion damage.
It wasn't for me. A few months later, I came back and I tried the character who I really wanted to play all along, and it all clicked. I loved looking at my little guy. I loved
if
his
he's still
gigantic
playing
hands and his
Potemkin,
booty drop.
he's eating
And I
right
love
now.
busting. So I
Pause.
was motivated to play and learn. Don't let tier lists or meta discussions dissuade you early. Pick who you think looks cool. I literally cannot say this enough.
I hate tier lists. I hate the camp of people that like really get hung up on a tier list. I think it's okay if you pick your character and be like, all right, what am I actually getting myself into here? But so much of I really hate tier lists. There's so much drama around tier lists.
Step 6. Learn how to play.
That's the tough one,
Once
right?
you've selected your little guy, hop into training mode and start hitting buttons. See what they do. See how it feels. Some games like Guilty Gear Strive and Mortal Kombat have decent tutorials that explain fighting game fundamentals and include challenges to test your knowledge.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Strive tutorial's not as good as Exerd
Playing will also
IMO.
have a full command list in the start menu. If you like what you're feeling, hop onto YouTube and search for some character guides.
Yeah,
This is
guides
a
are gonna
cool-
help. I myself am very stubborn where I don't like to look at guides unless I'm really hitting some struggle points.
Cool thing about
But
fighting games. They
if
are
you don't have a lot of pride
There
like
are
I
hurdles
do,
to overcome.
please check
That
out a guide. It's
complexity
gonna
is
help
also
so
what makes
much.
them so satisfying and fun to play. And people want other people to share in that fun, so they'll put in hours and hours and hours of work to make wonderful guides. Like and subscribe. Character guides are great. Looking at your move list in a game is helpful, but it doesn't instruct you on the overall strategy for that character.
You'll need guides a
good
lot
guide will
less
highlight
the better
most
you get
important tools
at
your
fighting
character
games across
has
the board.
and how to use those tools to win. When you watch a guide, don't expect to internalize everything all at once. That's a ton of information, and it's just not realistic. I've watched the same guides over and over again.
Oh,
over the
yeah.
course
Break
of
it up
weeks,
into
months,
parts
and
for
even
sure.
years. Every time I rewatch, I'll notice the things that
Just
I've
take a
learned
couple
and
of-
incorporated into my
Yeah, absolutely. Take a couple of things that you want to use in a match, go play with those like handful of things, and then come back for the rest.
play, and I'll make note of the things that I still need to do. In terms of written resources, that's going to depend on the game you're playing. Guilty Gear and other ArcSys games have comprehensive guides on dustloop.com. A lot of Tekken info is in Google spreadsheets that get passed around on Reddit. Figuring out where your game lives online is just a matter of Googling. As you watch and read, hop into training mode and work on a few bread and butter combos. Don't worry about optimizing yet. You need to develop your muscle memory to the point where you can hit your combos at all. A few days after I picked up Tekken, I got on Twitter and posted a video of me hitting King's most basic, unoptimized combo. I did it, I might have said, and a passing commenter might have asked,
57 damage? I mean, that's about what
In
I do
what?
with like my
This
bread
will
and
be a
butters
pattern
in
that
Tekken
repeats
8.
over your time in fighting games. You're going to put a lot of effort into mastering things that to outsiders appear
I'll take that, like-
inconsequential, and to experts
Like high
insignificant.
50s to like low
That doesn't
60s
mean it's
damage,
not
and that's
accomplished.
perfectly playable by me.
Good job. But nailing combos only accounts for a tiny, tiny percentage of what goes into playing a match. And the only way to start figuring that out is to fight.
Step 7. Fight.
Yeah, just literally, and this is what I do, spam matches. Like, you gotta get comfy with the character you're piloting. And then it's just the constant reminder of stuff that you want to actually sit down and improve on. So like, you have your base skill set, and then just take note as like, okay, like I need the anti-air, or like, damn, I want to try this combo instead because it gives me a safe jump. And it's just like saying that out loud, recognizing the situation, and then just trying for it over and over again until you actually like hit what you want to do. It's intentionality,
Sitting here
right?
on this screen for the first time can be scary.
Get ready
I mean,
for the
maybe not
next
you, maybe you're
battle.
some sort of real fucking cool guy. But for me, not knowing what would happen when I hit that matchmake button was nerve-wracking. Another real human being is about to see you fumble around with your buttons and drop your combos and forget to block in real time. But it's okay. It'll be fine. As intimidating as that human-to-human connection is, it's also absolutely core to the joy of fighting games. Now, I'm not
yeah,
saying
that's
there's
the good
no
shit,
value to
baby.
Fighting the CPU. It is a good way to keep learning your own character's moveset and develop muscle memory.
I like to think of, and I never use like the arcade mode myself. Like, I'm always just down to just fight a real person, and if I get mauled, I get mauled. It is what it is. But I look at it as like, in a combat sport, training with like a bit of resistance, like technique with resistance. So like, if you're practicing a drill, like an escape in jiu-jitsu, or a submission, or just fundamentals in boxing or Muay Thai or karate or whatever, it's okay, practice the move. We have the move that we want to do, and your opponent's only going to give like 30% resistance, or 50%, or 70%, or then you'll actually is like, oh hey, like give me everything you got.
So take a
You're
deep
building up
breath,
to that. That's
set
kind
your
of how I view
expectations
arcade
low,
mode.
and hit that matchmaking button. Or one of those matchmaking buttons. Most fighting games are going to have a couple of options, so let's go over those. Ranked matchmaking tracks your performance and skill using a bunch of different metrics, then attempts to match you against opponents of the same skill.
Shout out to skill-based
Usually there's
matchmaking.
some sort of meta progression here, as you earn new titles or badges, or in the case of Strive, literally move towards the top of a tower.
Thank
With
God
other new
Strive has
players,
like regular
so you
rank
actually have a
now.
chance of
Even
winning,
though I haven't been
and winning
playing,
feels good.
I much prefer that over the
con is
tower
that
system.
Even when you're fighting for fake online points, that sense that you're being evaluated changes everything. Getting bumped down a level after a losing streak can be really demoralizing. It also changes the behavior of your opponents.
Still haven't transcended humanity, huh? You lack discipline.
Separating your self-worth from your performance can be
Oh,
tough,
God,
and
that's-
it makes some people act really
Ugh.
silly. It can cause people to get obsessive about their win rates. They might duck you in matchmaking if you play a character that they have a hard time against. They might bail out of a set the moment they lose. They might send you nasty messages. Quick tip on this:
Less
if you're
about
worried
the
getting
messages
shit from
these
toxic
days.
Players, lock down your message settings ahead of time.
This doesn't happen all that much anymore. The last time I got any kind of messages was during my time playing Street Fighter 4 and then Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Those are literally
Now,
the
I
only
know I just
times.
listed a lot of cons that make ranked sound like shit, but it's actually fine. The other option is unranked. Here, the matchmaking will just stick you with another player.
Yeah, that's definitely the benefit of casuals, which I have been trying to make better use of. I'm always just kind of down for ranked because I don't care that much, but grinding out a matchup is like super beneficial. And obviously if you run into a matchup you struggle with, like just sitting down to play like a first to 10, first to 5, first to 100, it doesn't matter. That's going to be the prime experience that you're looking for to like make those gains and adjustments.
That's a good
So
thing.
shout out to casual
In fighting
matches.
games, even at the highest level of play, there's always an adjustment period between opponents. Pro players have the knowledge and experience to tune up quickly, but for beginners it takes longer. Let's say your opponent is using a technique that keeps blowing you up. You might not have time to run to a website and look up the frame data, but in a long set, you do have more opportunities to rummage through your toolkit and try to find something that'll solve your problem. And if you find a solution, you have the chance to test it out repeatedly and start burning it into your muscle memory. The most obvious downside to unranked
Grandmaster,
matchmaking
huh?
is that you might get paired up with somebody who is way, way better than you. But that's not really a downside in my opinion. Losing 20 matches to a very experienced player is a great way to learn. You learn which of your reliable strategies aren't really viable against better players, and you get to see the strength of good fundamentals. And you'll see something that you are very unlikely to see in the beginner ranks. The power of not pressing buttons. When I started...
Okay, so there's a bit with this too, where if your opponent is so wildly outside of your skill range, it's not going to have much benefit. I think it's okay to play players that are a bit better than you or a fair bit better than you, as long as you still have the capacity to play. Your opponent is so much better than you that you just get mauled and not know what the fuck is happening anyways. The benefits that you gain are going to be so incremental. Like, it's going to be so marginal. I think it's okay to seek strength. Like, if I'm playing a game with someone, I'm totally okay if they're dramatically better than me. I could figure things out enough, but especially if you're new, it's going to be so tough to fight someone extremely experienced.
Unranked Tekken, I would fight opponents who felt like absolute brick walls. They would just block punish, and whiff punish. Every loss was the result of me overextending and using unsafe options. So I tried to emulate their style, and gradually I got better.
But it works because you
Still
know
a
what's
bit
going on
Anyways,
enough,
both
right?
Ranked and unranked are valuable. If you stop having fun with one, try the other for a bit. And on the topic of having fun,
That, like, to that last point, that's why in large, I don't want friends that are new that I'm teaching to fight me, is because you need to be fighting people around your level or exactly your level, because you need to get a feel for what you can do and get that in your hands, so then you can gain some confidence, build your skill set a little bit. If the first time you boot up, or like the first handful of times you boot up a game, and you're fighting me and I'm just dramatically better than you, like that's not gonna be fun, right? So
You lose.
Isn't it past your bedtime?
at the end of a fighting
Damn,
game
she
match,
is
you win
shiny.
or you lose.
Mm-hmm.
There's no teammates to blame for not pulling their weight. There's no XP meter sliding up to reward you for your participation. You will, beyond a shadow of a doubt, lose a lot. Self-doubt and frustration can feel overwhelming when you're in the thick of it, but it is all a part of the process of getting better. So here are a few tips for getting through it. Separate your self-worth from your performance. Okay, I know this is kind of like saying stop being mentally ill, but it's still...
Man, that one's tough for a lot of people. Like, one of my favorite things about fighting games is like the level of ownership and like accountability that's necessary, because it is exclusively you and your opponent. But there's so many people that I've interacted with that just can't think in that way, where, man, like, and when I first started too, I lost a lot. Like, especially with, like, for something like Dragon Ball, you know, you can just mash auto combo and a combo will come out. But when I jumped over to Street Fighter for the first time, my first day was rough, man. Let me tell you, I went 32-1 or maybe 31-1, and convincing myself to go back the next session is like, all right, I have to throw myself back into this fire again. But it took me seeing someone else's gameplay, because I'd settled in on Cammy. I was going to try Cammy, and then for some reason in my mind I switched to Karen, and then I looked up some Karen gameplay, saw Punk, of course, because Punk was like the Karen player at the time. There was other good Karens as well, of course, but seeing what he was doing, like, mentally unlocked something super basic. I'm like, oh, like this, it just, I had this weird mental click that things made just a bit more sense, and my next session went dramatically better. But after someone has that first exposure of like, dude, I lost so many games, there's no hope for me, there's not a guarantee that someone is gonna throw themselves back into that.
Needs to be said. You are not your win-loss
A lot of
ratio.
people have a hard time
demoted
getting past
doesn't
that
mean
idea.
You suck as a person, even if it feels that way. And if you start feeling that way, it's time to take a damn break. Taking a break doesn't just let you cool off, it makes you better. When your hands are off the joystick and you're doing something else, your brain keeps gently churning on those situations, looking for the solution.
I have been
that you
here,
couldn't
not in the
find
bathtub,
heat of the moment.
but
Your
I've
body
been on
is
like a long
rewiring neural
drive where there's no
pathways
cars
to make
around.
your
It's just
execution
me and the
smoother.
road, and I am in training mode.
Playing fighting games feels a bit more like a traditional skill-based hobby like playing guitar. There's a base level of effort and self-direction. You need to get enjoyment out of it. That means that you won't always have the mental energy to do it. And that's okay, don't force it. A break from fighting games can be a couple hours or a couple months. The games will still be there when you get back, and your body will remember what to do. Watch replays. God, this one is so hard. It's like hearing your voice in a recording or seeing
I need to be
yourself
better
on
about
video.
watching my replays
Do I
too.
really do that? You do, but it's so valuable and you can't neglect it. Most fighting games keep a log of your most recent matches with the ability to play them back. You should take advantage of that. Seeing yourself play
Dude,
can help
nice.
you
Good
recognize
anti-air
habits
grab.
that you want to correct. It can also help you appreciate what you do well and what you want to do more of. And when you're feeling really brave, take the next step. Show your gameplay to someone else and ask them for tips. But before you can do that, first you need
Step 9. Community and competition.
Yeah, let's just go.
This can be one of the greatest joys of fighting games. The fighting game community is the name of the collective.
This is
but
the
it's not
good shit, right?
monolithic. There are hundreds or thousands of Discord communities out there for fighting games. Some are game specific, some are character specific, some are geared towards certain demographics and skill levels. Do some Googling and ask around on Twitter until you find a place that feels good for you. Whether it's folks you meet through these communities or your own network of friends, playing fighting games against someone you know is so good.
Fuck yeah, giant
For
swing
me,
to the
knowing
wall.
who's on the other side of the connection completely obliterates the frustration and antagonism that I can feel playing against random online opponents. Partially because it's just more humanizing when you know that person, but also because you can ask questions and chat. If you're in a good community, your opponent isn't going to keep any secrets. Because people who have decided that they want to get good at fighting games have signed an unspoken contract of mutual self-improvement. Iron sharpens iron. Fighting stronger opponents makes you stronger. So a good sparring partner will explain exactly how and why they're winning.
So much have I wanted this. So much have I wanted to have someone that got into a game with me and got serious about it and was actually serious about grinding whatever game that was, so that we can play our set, you know, win or lose whoever, like it doesn't matter. But then we split off and we get stronger, we reconvene, and then you have that downtime to think about the matchup or what you could be doing better or what your opponent's doing or whatever. And just that constant back and forth of pushing each other to the next level. I've never been able to get that. And that has been the saddest realization for me. And I probably never will get it because, there's no guarantee that your friends or your fighting game friends will like the exact games that you like. I'm down to play almost everything to varying levels of seriousness. Like, I think me personally, I'm kind of done taking Street Fighter seriously. I don't feel the need or inclination to grind it, but if somebody wants to play, I'm down. That's fine. But getting that same mental the other way around is very rare. Where I have other fighting game friends, and then I tell them that the most serious game I'm playing right now is 2XKO. Kind of. Even then, I'm kind of being pretty casual about it. But that has been the game that I've been playing. So many of my friends do not associate themselves with 2XKO. I have one friend that's grinding the game, and that is Brandon. And I don't even think he's grinding it serious, but he's gotten a lot better. He's still down to play the ranked game mode and all that stuff. But we are on differing levels, even though he's gotten a lot better.
Until it's time to compete.
God,
Very well then.
Challenge. I am jealous of any of you that have like a true proper rival.
Through your community,
That's
or
so
just by
sick.
being online, you might come across some online tournaments, and you should sign up for them.
You're right.
Tournaments are really
I
cool.
should sign up for
They
more
offer you the
tournaments.
chance to do a lot of things that you won't get in your casual play. First of all, it's one of the few times you and your buddies will step into that magic circle of competition, mutually and temporarily agreeing to set aside the helpful hints and just going all out, seeing who will win. If you're used to mostly playing friendlies, it's fun to try out a different vibe. The other useful thing is
not
that
the
it's
punch to the
fucking
dick.
scary. At first. The first few times I did online tournaments, I literally got shaky and sweaty. I forgot-
Yeah, that's like the next level, right? Is you know, people feel that way about ranked, and jumping into the fray of ranked, or even just casual games when they first like get started, is like the ranked anxiety. And I've had people be the same with like ranked for like League of Legends, where it's like, this is for serious now. If I entered locals, which I intend to soon, I have to take off a Sunday, I'll probably get a little bit nervous or antsy again because it's been so long. But that's kind of the fun of it, though, no? That's kind of like, I don't know.
My combos and I mashed buttons. But each time I did it, it got easier. And once you've played under pressure, you'll be better in casual settings. Random match.
But you just keep doing it, though. You keep spamming tournaments or
A lot of
ranked.
tournaments are streamed on Twitch, which means you might get a chance to rewatch the VOD and hear someone commentate your match. Like a lot of parts of the fighting game process, this can make you feel vulnerable. But a good
Bro is
commentator will
splashing
walk you
right now,
through what's
holy.
going on, and that can be an incredible learning tool.
They're opening. They've proven they're pretty good at fighting out of the corner. Already, double
Toss him
now
back.
thrown into the corner. Again, huge
Rush
life
counter.
deficit, but the other way around. Gets hit by the stomps. No,
How is he
crosses,
not
hard
stunned,
combo.
though?
Step 10. There is no end.
One of the many wonderful and intimidating things about fighting games is that there's no prescribed end goal for your participation. There's no final boss or end game treadmill. Even the best player in the world is only the best until someone surpasses them.
Yeah,
No
you're
matter
good until
where
you suck,
are in
right?
your journey, in some sense, you're still at the beginning. That means you won't always know the next step forward, but it also means you're never falling behind. And as long as you're on that path, learning and having fun, you're doing it right.
Yeah, this video is still great. With that said, though, a problem that I've had is the ability to set a goal, like surpass it or hit the mark, and set a new goal right after. So, big example was Street Fighter 6. When I was of the mind where it's like, all right, I want to get a character to master. And since I've done that, my motivation to come back and continue to play Street Fighter 6 is so low. Part of it's because I'm not much of a Street Fighter player to begin with, but when I had that goal, I was so motivated to continue to play Street Fighter time and time again. There was a point in time where I was grinding that game. There's a reason I put in 300 plus hours into that game, because I had like a goal in mind. So hitting that mark and then reassessing is like, all right, what is the next step? And then having the fuel to keep going and hit that new mark is very important for someone like me. All in all, still a good video. I think it holds up extremely well. It just needs to be pitched towards the modern generation of games. Like, it needs a bit of a spruce up, like how would I put this? It needs a remaster is what I'm saying. The video is good, man. I think it's really a good window in what it's like to be a new player and getting into things as a new player. But obviously the hard part is when you actually jump in and actually spend the time to get good. And you're going to have different levels of gains the higher and higher you go. So when you start out, it's going to be really hard to figure out what's going on and getting your foot into the door and finding out what exactly you need to do. With all these steps in mind, it does help. At least as far as general concepts are concerned. But in the beginning, these minor revelations that you have are going to be so monumental for like basic improvement. Even just learning something as basic as anti-airing is like, oh, I didn't know I had to hit people when they jumped, or how strong stopping jumping is. But once you figure that out, you're just that much better. or like, you know, stable offense or stable defense, figuring out what to do on block, you know, all these basic things that help you improve in such a major way in the beginning, versus when you're nearing the higher levels, your gains are going to be so incremental. Like, you're not going to have these big revelations that have you jump dramatically in level. You really have to like overhaul and sit and think very granularly on your play. And that's going to be the way you get better to these like very micro situations. I, of course, like this video a lot. I think it was fun to kind of rehash. If this is a style of video that you guys want to see more of, I can absolutely do that. I have a couple more videos in mind that we can talk about in this way. But yeah, I very much recommend everyone jump into the fray and, you know, try for themselves. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to see more, check out the rest of the channel. In the description, there's links to not just my channel, my friends' channels as well. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Peace.